While Midnight Express is the film version of Billy Hayes' account of arrest and imprisonment in Turkey in 1970, I think it is fair to say the film offers a somewhat modified version of events. Director Alan Parker and scriptwriter Oliver Stone have used the base material to convey and study issues and themes that are valid, compelling and even essential in terms of discussion of what constitutes a just and caring society. But the details of Billy's cinematic story are not necessarily historically accurate. Of course, that in no way diminishes the film's effectiveness as a work of art, and may even have allowed the filmmakers greater freedom to express their ideas and concerns in the course of the film. And while the producers may be accused of taking things to extremes, that is often the basis of drama, as it leads to clarity of conflict, consequences and feelings. Billy Hayes is no criminal, but, through youthful indiscretion, he is tempted to sneak 2 kilos of cannabis through Turkish customs on his way home to America. He is caught and, as the authorities wish to make a daunting example of him, he is eventually sentenced to 30 years in prison, in particularly harsh and difficult conditions. The film examines his experiences but also begs questions and invites reflection on a number of issues and matters of social relevance and concern. The first issue to be raised is that of cultural and legal differences between nations and the impact these can have on attitude, conduct and punishment. Although Billy is aware that he is breaking the law, he gives in to temptation in his desire to share cannabis with his friends. This may be at least partially due to youthful recklessness and a more liberal attitude at home, but he does not appear to view this as a major crime, and he misjudges and underestimates the attitude and approach of the Turkish authorities. He and his father do little to help the situation by treating officials with a degree of casual disrespect. This highlights incongruities and friction that may arise due to disparities and contrasts in cultural and legal divisions. That said, it is often difficult to alter one's ingrained perceptions to accommodate a fresh and radically different outlook, and our film seems to imply that perhaps authorities could take this all-too-human failing into account in terms of sentencing, depending, of course, on the gravity of the crime. However, it is clear that Billy is a little man being used as a pawn by authorities in a bigger game of setting an example to discourage similar acts, and his case is seen by the prosecutors purely in terms of legality and punishment, with little or no heed given to background, circumstances, character and rehabilitation. Indeed, Billy's situation begs questions about justice and the proportion of the punishment to fit the crime. Should the criminal justice system, whether in Turkey or elsewhere, not be governed by considerations of fairness and compassion? Our film effectively presents a plea for common humanity, and it also invites the audience to consider the purpose of incarceration in the broadest terms. Is the objective merely to punish, humiliate or even take revenge? Or is there room for rehabilitation and reform, taking account of remorse and the capacity to change? At one point, Billy intimates that he has learned his lesson, suggesting recognition of guilt, and that rather than make an example of him, the prosecutor and the courts would be more laudable or admirable if they showed mercy in his case. I think it was Dostoevsky who suggested, and I'm paraphrasing here, that one can measure the worth of a society by the way it treats its criminals. If a man is deprived of hope, a sense of value or individual worth, and he has no recourse to natural justice, what does he become? Billy is reduced to a shell operating on the most basic level, lost in this prison labyrinth in which conventional social structures and humanity do not apply, as civilization appears to turn its back on the abuse and wretched destinies of those incarcerated. A visit from his former girlfriend provides a glimmer of hope, as he is reminded of self-worth and the existence of life outside his prison, and this much-needed wake-up call provides the impetus to survive and form a plan to escape. With no prospect of release or humane treatment, Billy will no longer meekly accept the brutal authority of his captors, as he realises he has no option but to take his destiny in his own hands and make a bid to escape, or slowly die. The setting of this film is Istanbul, and while it may be viewed simply as a modified recounting of Billy's experiences, the universal themes explored here have been examined in a number of films set in a variety of countries, including Britain, France and America. Nor should these themes be regarded as relatively recent. In 1844 and 1862, writers Alexandre Dumas and Victor Hugo published The Count of Monte Cristo and Les Miserables respectively, and each examined the consequences of unjust imprisonment, disproportionate sentences, and the psychological harm done by brutal and inhumane treatment. My thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it of some value.